Hi everyone, welcome to this channel. Today we're gonna have a little bit unusual video because this week my channel surpassed 1000 subscribers. That's a very important milestone for any new channel and I'm super happy, and I thought I should somehow celebrate it. In my blogging career, I not always celebrate like those achievements, those milestones, because there is always this feeling, oh, it's never good enough, it could be better, it could be faster, and this like stuff like that. But for this channel I want to be thankful for myself that I did it, that I kept pushing these videos, also to be thankful to you that you're actually watching it and commenting as well. So today's video gonna be like just a chatty video, nothing super formal, not specific theme or not specific topic. And also I want to share some thoughts that I have about this channel. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the future, how I feel so far having this channel, and those of you who know me from my other projects, I guess might be interesting for you. For all the new people on this channel, I don't know, you might skip that part or just stay with me if you somehow like me talking like that forever. Also, and this is more important than whatever I said before, I want to have a little tea party with you. As you can see, my cup is ready. I'm going to be drinking tea, talking about different things, and actually I'm going to be reading your comments, the comments you left on my channel, and I will be commenting your comments. I mean, some of these comments are replied already in person, but I kind of want to talk about some topics that you raise or some questions you ask me. And you know what? Being on a new channel, it's like such a beauty and such a, I don't know, like a benefit of having a small channel where I can actually read every comment carefully and actually have time to think of what you ask me or what you say, and also being able to respond. And since I still have this privilege on this small channel, I'm gonna do this tonight. So basically I will be talking about everything related to me, my life, this channel, and also some things that are eco-related, because most of your comments are about that. Anyway, if you don't want me blubbering just like that, maybe it's time for you to turn off this video and just watch something else, because next video will be more formal and more informational. And if you're okay with me blubbering, just join my tea party. And tea is true tea, not what it's meant tea in YouTube, especially in the English-speaking YouTube. Basically, this is hot water, this is my teapot, the tea gonna be brewed, then I push the button, and then the freshly brewed tea will make itself, I don't know. Then I will pour it in my beautiful glass and drink it and talk to you. You see? There you go. Oh, damn it. How did I get all these tea leaves? Non-important fact about me, I hate drinking hot liquids. That's why I poured some of my tea and I'm gonna wait for it to cool down, because this water is really hot for me. And I will start with the first comment. That was a comment that made me actually laugh. This was a comment for one of my last videos, the one about aluminium. So so Lucas commented, "Hi Stella, thank you for sharing with us your knowledge and research you've done, and it's really impressive. Thank you." And he also says, "My Russian-Israeli wife was laughing a lot about the bidon story. You actually encouraged her, and I'm going to look for an aluminium type of bottles to keep our stuff in." Yeah, it's so cool, when you just talk about something, and remember my story about bidon. I didn't know even the English translation about that. And then it's so cool that somebody across the internet actually can relate to this story. So Lucas, send greetings to your wife. That was really cool that somebody else can understand it. It's actually funny because I received a couple of comments asking me, are you Russian? What's your accent? Where are you from? And yes, for those who don't know me personally, yes, I'm Russian, living in California. And yeah, that's where my funky accent comes from. Okay, another cool comment. This comment was for my KonMari decluttering story video. Actually, that video was one of the most popular on my channel, almost the only popular. And so it was kind of cool to read all the comments because there were a bunch. So this comment from Marina said, "I'm actually that crazy person who takes everything out of the backpack every time I come home. I have been doing this as long as I can remember, and after reading Marie Kondo's book, I felt so much better about this weird habit." So for those of you who don't know, one of the tips that KonMari gives in her book, that when you come home, you have to empty your bag. So next day when you pack it for the, next day or next time you use it. You actually, pack stuff from scratch, which helps you, reduce the clutter inside your bag, because you probably know there are these people who have those bags full, like especially probably ladies, or actually if the guys have backpacks, they might have this too. But when they have so much random stuff in their backpack. And for me, I just realized now, I actually replied to this comment, but I just realized now, although I'm not really actively following this habit, so I never thought like, oh, that's actually a great habit, I should do it. But now I actually almost came to this habit. I don't have a routine of emptying my bag, but because I don't have a purse, like a lady purse or something, and I usually use different bags, depends on the occasion. Also, most of the time I don't use any bag at all. Also, I use some small things like a fanny bag. So technically, I almost always kind of empty my bag, because I usually don't even have anything. Because today, for example, I will take a fanny bag, I'll just put my phone and my, I usually put camera in there and my some like small stuff, like, headphones, gadgets. But then the next day I will need to have a backpack because I'm taking my laptop somewhere. So yeah, I guess I kind of empty too. Let me know in the comments if anyone else is also emptying the bag when you come home. Actually, it's a great habit. Also, I wanted to talk about this particular video. So my videos about decluttering are the most popular on this channel. So it made me even think like, should I continue more videos about minimalism and decluttering, since those topics are supposedly more interesting or more popular among people. And for me, it's not about popularity, it's more about what people are actually, wanting to know. Or should I just continue with whatever topics I have right now? Let me know what you think. Because the way how I produce my content right now, obviously I also look into things that might be potentially popular and interesting, because maybe one day my channel will blow up. But mostly the way how I create these videos and how I come up with themes of the videos, topics, there is something I want to know. For example, the video about aluminum. That's how I created it. I was thinking like, I wanted to know myself, what's going on. Or I came across some interesting article and I was like, okay, let me dig deeper. And that's usually how I come up with my content. Just something that I learned, or something I was thinking a lot, or something I just realized I have some knowledge about it, and then something, came up that reminded me of this video. So this is my way, to create the content. But I don't know, should I go more into decluttering and minimalism or not? I don't know. But those things are definitely popular on YouTube, much more popular than aluminum videos. But I guess maybe it's a good thing, because somebody has to do videos about aluminum. Okay, let's see other comments. That's a cool comment to my food waste video. It's actually also Marina. She said, I live in Norway now, and here we have a mobile app, Too Good To Go, which shows you a list of bakers, shops and restaurants in your area and special food offers that they have today. Those offers include a bag of food that is close to expire and that otherwise will be thrown away. So you get good food that is 2 times worth the money you've paid. The only problem is that you never know what you're going to get in that food bag. But despite some initiatives and the fact we are much better at recycling, the situation with food waste is very bad here too. Here means in Norway. Probably not much better than in the US. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like Europe is doing much better. At least it's hard for me to compare, because I haven't lived in Europe or haven't visited Europe that often in the last 10 years. But for me, it just seems like people are more conscious. But maybe, some things are still bad. Or maybe what you think is bad is much worse in America, and people think that, I don't know. It's hard to compare. But that's kind of interesting. And thanks to everyone who lives in anywhere outside of America, or even outside of California, that you also bring your experience, because it's easy to be in your eco bubble and judge everything from wherever you live. But it's interesting to hear opinions from other countries, and I always try to do my research, seeing what's done in other parts of the world. But it's kind of cool to read as well. As of this app, I don't know, I think it's kind of good. I was actually trying to research similar apps as well, when you can get notification from some stores or restaurants nearby where they sell, you know, things like 50% off, some food that would go to waste. Because as I said, in America, most stores don't even have this, like, or like even you go to bakery, they don't have this aisle that says like, oh, this bread is from, I don't know, from the morning or from yesterday, you can get it 50% off. They just don't have this thing. They would just throw things away, which is super annoying. Even in Bali, I remember we had this particular place, Bali Buddha. So if you go there in the morning from, I think from 8 to 10 or something like that, you can buy all the pastries or breads from the previous day and 50% off. And we used to use it all the time because it's usually still good, especially if you're going to eat it the same day. Yeah, so these apps are cool. I was doing research about America. I found one app as a startup, but it didn't seem like it kind of grew big. So if everyone knows if there are like similar apps in US, I think there is some in Canada, but not in here in America, where you can actually, like, let's say you have some leftover of food, especially something packaged, or if it's related to restaurants and, I don't know, coffee shops, if they can actually post stuff that they're giving away. If anyone knows about this app, please let me know. And actually, speaking about different experiences, so the comment says, I live in the Bronx, New York. My name is Bianca, and I hear you out on this talk about recycling. I love my home area, though we are known to be the worst at times. I have always recycled and still do. However, I see how people just travel on food, eat, and dispose garbage wherever, especially in buildings. Man, so many people don't recycle. Yeah, it sucks. I haven't been to New York, but I think it's probably dirty from what I heard. I mean, San Francisco gets dirty too in certain places. I don't know. It's kind of sad. I don't know. I hope you like my blubbering and reading comments. I was planning to do it kind of more intellectual way, but so far it turns out the way how it turns out. Anyway, I promised to share you some thoughts on the future of this channel. So I started in March, and before I started this channel, I actually had a couple of months when I was planning the whole thing, and I was debating should I start it or not, because it's not my first channel on YouTube, so I knew what I'm getting myself into, but at the same time I kind of wanted, but I didn't know if I should even start something in English. So finally I decided that I will start. I decided that I will take this sustainability theme, and I produced most of my first 5 or 6 or something like that videos. I produced them in February, and then I scheduled them to be published in March. And then in March I was traveling, I was in India. And I remember when I came back from India, it was mid of March. It's just right before the whole pandemic just blew up. And then the whole thing blew up. Starting, I think, March 15, our county started, implementing these quarantines. And I was like, oh my goodness. The eco topic is the last topic people are interested right now. But since I already had these videos produced and scheduled, I was like, should I stop it? Should I just... And then I was thinking, maybe this pandemic will just go away, in a month or 2. Maybe I should just postpone my launch. And I'm so glad I didn't postpone it. I was like, it is what it is. Just keep doing your videos. Yeah, it's not the most popular probably topic right now, but at some point, this content I create, it's evergreen, So basically, if somebody finds these videos 1 year later, it's still going to be something important, because we're not going to improve much in 1 year. I kept posting, and I was posting twice a week, because I was thinking, if I post twice a week, YouTube will notice my channel, I will get some lucky algorithm charms, and my channel maybe will blow up. But it didn't happen. There is no such a thing as, hacking the algorithm. So I was doing twice a week. Also, what I was thinking, I will do short videos, right to the point. And although it's hard for me to talk to talk on point in my non-native language. Actually, native language is worse. I talk even more because I like to talk. And I just realized that I have to force myself to do these short videos. First of all, the shorter is the video, the easier it's to produce it. So basically, I can sit here, talk for, 40 minutes, and then split this content in 3 videos. Basically, that's what I did with some of my videos, like videos about decluttering or some other things. But that's not a natural way for me to do my content. So if you're somebody who came from my Russian channel, you know that I usually do long form videos, 20 minutes, that's nothing for me. I have some videos that are 40 minutes long. And of course, I used to think that YouTube doesn't like long videos, but then my Russian channel blew up actually while I was trying to grow my English channel. And I realized that the length of the video doesn't matter. It depends if people just like you and your content or not. On top of that, there were like lots of crazy things happening in California, you know, like we can't use the reusable bags anymore. If you go to the coffee shop, they're not going to accept your tumbler. You have to buy coffee in their cup. So that was for me like either I don't drink coffee from the coffee shops, and that's what I stopped doing, or I just have to use single-use cups, which annoys the crap out of me because I'm like creating all this content and then I'm just doing myself the same mistake. The same with restaurants. You can't dine. If you get takeout, you get all this packaging and then nobody will take your container because pandemic, which is proven already by scientists. And by the way, if you believe that, I don't know, using your tumbler or using your shopping bag is dangerous in terms of pandemic, I will link the video that proves it's not like that. Actually, 2 videos. Yeah, so basically everyone is going crazy. Everywhere you go, if you go to the parking, to the supermarket, you just see how people just discard their face masks. They just discard their gloves because they think like, oh my God, my glove is so contaminated. I can't even carry it. I can't even carry it home and, you know, throw it in the garbage because it's contaminated. And people don't think like, are you throwing in the garbage your clothes because you probably brushed against something? You know, like, are you taking bleach shower? Like, you know, how contaminated this thing is for you to even go and throw it in the garbage. But I understand people are scared, and especially here in America, the fear mongering, I think it's really bad. I'm not saying this thing is not happening, but being fearful to the extent when you can't even go to the garbage place and throw your like rubber gloves, or when you even feel in general like that you need wearing rubber gloves, just wash your hands. Anyway, don't get me started on that. So I was thinking like, why do I even have this channel? It's just such a hypocrisy for me to even create any content raising the awareness of people about the environment when, I mean, certain things are happening. And then the protest happened, and then, you know, I was diving deep into and trying to understand things like environmental injustice, lack of diversity, lack of inclusion and stuff like this. And I made a couple of videos about that. As well, I wrote an article. I will link everything below. Like, if you didn't watch it yet, go watch. Anyway, like, so I was like, you know, doing this other content. And also there was a point when I was like joining the whole movement and not posting anything as well. And this was end of May, beginning of June. So I had a little break from my channel myself, which was kind of useful break for me as well, because I was like a little bit not burned out, because I'm so long on YouTube. I think I can get burned out, but for me it's probably easier to manage it. I just was a little bit lost. What should I do? Because I was like serving the algorithm, doing short videos twice a week, trying to, you know, make clickbaity titles or something like that, but it just didn't work. And also, it's not that I'm upset it didn't work. I mean, it's good I tried, now I know. But also I got upset that I'm actually forcing myself into something what I'm not. I'm not a person who creates 5 minutes videos. It's just not me. As much as I want this channel to be kind of, you know, like speaking to the wider audience so more people can understand, but I believe that, I don't know, doing these 5 minutes videos, you can't really change people's minds, because you have to tell stories. It has to be a story time, not just, okay, 5 facts about aluminum, fact number 1, fact number 2. No, I don't believe you can change somebody's mind just spitting out facts. You need to kind of bring your experience, I don't know, make it more human. I don't know, that's what I feel. And I guess I was like thinking a lot. I was like, what should I do? And then at the same time, my Russian channel blew up, and the video that blew up was 40 minutes long. And I was like, you know what? Don't tell me anymore. All these people that on YouTube telling you how to grow the channel, you don't know nothing, guys. The funny part, and I talked about that already in my Russian channel, the videos that blew up in my Russian channel, I did exactly the same videos in my English channel. But those videos in my English channel didn't blow up, so, you know, there is no logic in it. Anyway, now my tea is too cold. Let's add some water. Anyway, I was thinking a lot. So the whole June I was in a little bit, I mean, I wasn't posting much. Even my other projects, I wasn't doing much because I was a little bit lost. I was like, I don't know, should I continue this posting twice a week? Should I do short videos, long videos? It's my like never-ending debate. I guess somebody deep inside me, that person, the imposter syndrome person, was really making me, okay, I did this tea too strong, made me really, I don't know, question myself. And then in the July, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do whatever I'm doing. Like, if I feel like posting my long videos, I will do it. And I will see. I don't know. maybe it will work, maybe it will not. I will still try to have as well short videos, like more like, I don't know, speaking to the wider audience, but I don't think that's I'm gonna be doing twice a week. I don't think anymore. I kind of want to do more like deep dives, some videos that you can just turn on and just keep listening, like almost like a podcast. So I don't know, guys, I don't know what you think about that. My husband told me your videos are too long, nobody gonna watch it. I don't know, maybe it's true. I don't know. Okay, let's check some more comments. Oh, this comment I really want to read, because as I fear that most of the people watching this channel are actually people from my Russian channel. So I feel like, Stella, you created a channel for new audience, but is there any new audience watching your stuff? But there is a proof, there is somebody else besides my Russian audience. So I did this video about Black creators that I follow. And I got a comment from Andrea, and she said, thank you so much for sharing. I know personally that when I entered this space, I felt very, very out of place for a few reasons. I'm a woman of color who also focuses on sustainability, low waste, do-it-yourself, thrifting and vlogs, and also chat about immigration issues. Oh my God, I can feel you there. I would love more support. I'm a big believer that experiences matter in my life as Latina. Immigrant woman will bring new perspectives to the table. Thank you so much again for doing this. I will link below the Andrea Katerina channel. Go check her. So basically, she used to live in America, as far as I understand. Now she moved to London, and now she's going through this crazy immigration process to get your paperwork. I had this process a year ago, and actually just finished finished. Come on, Stella. It's somehow finished in December when I got finally my residence permit, but I only got it for 2 years. So basically, wait a minute, so basically next year I will have to start the whole process again to get a 10-year permit. That's how it works in America. So my process is never stopping. Yeah, so what I like about her channel, she posts some cool videos about sustainability, also talks about her life, immigrant, the issues, because I think sometimes it is really happening to sustainability YouTube, especially here in North America. You kind of see same type of people. You see lots of girls, you see lots of ladies. They're mostly white. They usually like either middle class, upper middle class. Sometimes they just, if they're YouTubers who already like achieved certain like income, so they're like, like they can afford things. And it's kind of cool to watch smaller YouTubers, because sometimes the small sustainability YouTubers have completely different content on their channel, and I guess it's more relatable. And actually, during this May and June, I was doing my own search for people of color YouTubers. I don't know if I can say so. And I actually found so many great people from all sorts of ethnicity, nationalities from across the world. Maybe one day I will actually make another video just talking about the channels that I watch, because I did these 2 videos about Black creators, but obviously besides white and Black creators, there are also lots of other people. I will make this video, I guess. But so far you can join her channel, and she's really cool. I don't know if she's watching this video, but if she is, hi! Also, another fellow blogger commented on me, and that was really nice. Where's her comment? Tyler. Yeah. So my video about Black creators, Tyler from a channel, this channel is called Thrifts and Tangles, and I actually reviewed this channel in that video, and she found this video was really nice, and she said, thank you so much for being an ally and also for compiling this list. I follow some of the creators you mentioned, but also I discovered some new creators. So it's really awesome that this video not only promotes these particular Black creators that I mentioned, but also it's kind of cool that somebody who is Black creator herself can also find other creators, because I think important thing, if I feel like people like me are underrepresented somewhere, I think the cool thing to do that I'm not only saying that, oh guys, we are so underrepresented, it's kind of like sad, but also to be like almost like a, I don't know, like a little community that promotes each other. I don't know if you know what you mean. Because for example, for me as an immigrant, as a foreigner, as a person with the accent, I felt really weird entering the English-speaking YouTube channel space, because I was thinking like, who's gonna watch my videos? I can't even speak properly in English. Like, I'm sure I sound dumber in English than I'm actually in Russian, because in Russian, I suppose I'm a well-versed person, but in English, I might sound dumb or something. So for me, I also felt super weird entering this sustainability or even just in general English YouTube, because I felt like nobody's gonna follow me. People gonna follow anyone just because that person is English native. Who's gonna listen to me because I'm an immigrant? People are like, oh, we hate Russians. We don't want to listen to this Russian girl or something like that, you know? And for me, I had also my own barriers to kind of enter this area and my own concerns, or I don't know, I didn't feel confident enough. So now I feel like actually when my channel grows, I really want to take time and promote other smaller channels, and especially promoting channels from all over the world, because yeah, we can sit here in America and just have collaborations with each other, you know, like American YouTubers doing collaborations with other American YouTubers, or American YouTubers doing collaborations with English YouTubers, you know, so kind of something like, oh, natives English with other native English. But I would love to see more like sustainability, for example, YouTubers from all over the world, you know? So I think it's also part of my responsibility to not only sit there and say like, oh, I felt hard, I felt like barriers to enter this community, but now like find other YouTubers from across the world and just promote each other. That's why, for example, I'm super excited this Andrea from London, you know, commented on my channel, and then I signed up for her channel. That was really like awesome. It was like exciting for me, especially, you know, I can relate to people going through immigration issues. Most people who never did, you know, who never moved to the country where they had to, you know, do the whole immigration process. They just don't understand how this process takes all your energy. I remember when I was waiting for my green card, sometimes I would wake up and I'm like, I don't know, I just don't want to plan anything. I just don't want to do anything in my life. I just want this demon thing to be over. Well, I was speaking so long, but my camera stopped. Oh my God, Estelle, how are you gonna edit this video? So I was like super excited when Andrea commented on my channel. Also, I was super excited when Tyler also commented, because what I feel myself also, I want to know other, you know, sustainability YouTubers in this area. And it's really nice when somebody notices my channel, not just my Russian subscribers, you know. So I feel like, oh my God, there are other people doing this. It's really nice. Anyway, so I hope we will bring, all of us will bring different perspectives, different, I don't know, people into this area, not like same-minded people, but different-minded people. Anyway, let's read other comments. Let's go into some more useful comments, I guess. I don't know, useful, I mean... And actually, thank you to everyone who is leaving a comment, because I don't get many comments yet on this channel because the views are not that high. That's why every comment I receive, I'm like, yes, somebody watched it. Somebody has to say something. So if you have something to say, leave a comment. Okay, this is a comment from another Russian subscriber. And she says, Julia, she says, came here from your other channel. Such wealth of useful information on both channels. Thank you. Thank you to you for watching it. It's really frustrating that so much of our food packaging cannot be recycled. I wash and reuse my resealable sandwich bags and collect all other plastic packaging in a separate bin and use them to dispose of scoopable kitty litter. At least they serve some purpose that way. Yeah, I'm super into this as well. I'm also saving all the, you know, plastic packaging. Sometimes my husband gets crazy about it because he hates me constantly washing jars, and because so he's anti-hoarder. He's a person who is a minimalist by, I don't know, by DNA. I don't know by what, but he hates stuff. He hates clutter, and almost to the fact that he goes crazy if things are cluttered. So he's actually like a natural minimalist, but the same, it's actually makes him really agitated when he sees me washing jars or collecting these plastic bags, because he's afraid this thing gonna just clutter the house. And I'm constantly telling him, don't worry, we're gonna use these things. Sometimes he secretly throws it away. That's another thing, living with the person who is not exactly the same as you. So it's also an interesting experience. But what I noticed, and I don't know, I for some reason decided to share this experience, I noticed that first of all, like, I never pick a fight about that. Sometimes I open the recycling bin, the trash, and I see my jar there, and I'm like, and I take it out, and I was like, did you just throw my jar away? He's like, yeah, because we have so many of these jars. How many you need? And usually I don't pick a fight. I just say, I do need them. Please, it's important for me. Please don't throw away my jars. And that's it. I don't like go into any other conversation. He usually says something like, you have too many. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I need it. It's important for me. And I usually like end it at that. Sometimes he says like, oh my God, these jars are everywhere or something like that. But it took us maybe half a year, maybe more, of me doing this. when finally now he appreciates it. And now sometimes I notice that he actually doesn't throw away my jars or even washes them myself. My jars, it's our jars, but I mean, they're my jars in this house. And the cool thing is, like, so slowly, by not picking fights, by not getting angry with him, throwing it away, but slowly showing him that I'm persistent with washing jars and collecting plastic bags. And also when we would go somewhere like hiking, camping, and when he see I'm really reusing those plastic bags and those jars, he's more appreciative now. Now he's like, okay, you want to keep this jar? Like, yes, okay, I'm washing. So, you know, it takes time, but people do change. And he might be the person who would never wash his own jars. The fly just, oh my God, the fly just fell in my cup. Now I have to wash it. So basically, he might not be the person who would wash jars if it wasn't for me. But for me, it's already enough. If he's doing it just because he feels that it's important for me, and eventually he appreciates that sometimes, you know, we don't use like some packaging, we can just reuse those jars. He appreciates it now. It took him more than half a year to understand that, but it's worth it. So that's another idea of mine that I want to push on this channel more, that you shouldn't be shaming people for not being eco-friendly enough. You shouldn't be forcing people. You shouldn't be even get crazy if people around you, like your family members or your friends, are not eco-friendly. You can show it by example. Okay, now you're flying. You just drank my tea and now she's flying. Yeah, so for me, it's important to show people that you don't need to be a crazy eco person and just, I don't know, yell at people who use plastic packaging when they should not be using it, but actually more like leading by example and not being hysterical about it and actually showing it that how you actually put it to use. Anyway, I need to go wash my cup because the fly was there. I don't like flies. Okay, let's read more comments. Oh, that's a cool comment, and I'm so glad I received it, because sometimes people not only just leave questions or just comments about my video, but they actually leave useful tips. And if you're the person who ever watched my video and thought like, I have a tip for Stella, but I don't know if I should even, you know, bother. Yes, please bother. So this was the video, the comment for the video that I did about food hacks, basically how to keep the produce longer, how to waste less food, how to reuse food, if that makes sense. So this comment was as following. When carrots get soft, just put them in the water for a few hours and they will be fresh again. Same for other root vegetables. And that's true. What I started doing, I use the silicone bags or sometimes jars, depends on the size, or like just containers. I put some water, I wash carrots, or I eat lots of radishes. I wash radishes and then just put them in the water, and they really stay crunchy and fresh instead of being soggy, you know how usually it happens to carrot. So that was a great tip. Thank you for that. Let's see what else. And another video about food waste was from Maria. She was saying, oh, a video on growing herbs would be great. I'm failing even on rosemary. And that's really funny. I hate rosemary. I have rosemary. Actually, I'm gonna show you my rosemary. You're gonna laugh at it. I used to have rosemary. That's how my rosemary looks like. I don't know if it's focused, but I mean, there are tiny leaves on it. It might regrow. But to be honest, I hate growing herbs because I failed so many times. But what I noticed, the biggest problem for me in the herbs, you have to really read detailed information how to grow them. For example, some herbs, they hate to dry, they hate when it's too dry. Some herbs, like if you overwater them, they're gonna die. They're gonna just rot or something gonna happen. For example, basil used to die on me because I would overwater it. Thyme used to die on me. I think rosemary as well. My problem with rosemary, it constantly has this white mildew or something. I hate it. Last time I got so pissed, I just cut the whole thing. Yeah, and also some herbs, they don't grow well if you don't trim them. For example, basil, you have to constantly trim it. If you don't trim it, eventually it will die as well. Yeah, I don't know, like I will probably one day do a video about growing herbs, but I don't know, I will not do it anytime soon, and I don't know if it makes sense to make it in autumn, you know. Maybe I do it next winter, early spring, so you can also use these tips to actually grow something. Yeah, because it somehow have to follow the seasons. Another cool topic from one of my subscribers, it's Vadim, and he says, it's also about food waste hacks. He says, thank you for all the tips. I peel the skin on most of fruits and veggies because of wax. So I guess all of you know that the fruits, especially that are sold in the conventional supermarkets, they're heavily coated with wax and other chemicals. So the wax gives them the shiny look, and the chemicals help them not to get spoiled. Basically, so that no fungus, no rot will occur, and basically those fruits have a longer shelf life. And obviously, this wax and chemicals that used for coating not very healthy for us. So he says he usually peels the skin of most of the supermarket fruits and veggies, and he asked me, are there any hacks to clean it off without removing the skin? So basically, this comment was related to my video where I was saying that I collect all the veggie peels to make a soup, like a homemade broth. I made a video about that as well. Yeah, to be honest, I knew about this wax situation, but I was kind of, I don't know, negligent about that. So I was like, nah, whatever, we're gonna die anyway. So, you know, sometimes it's just hard to think about everything that happens in the world. But after I received this comment, this was actually like, this comment was like 2 months ago, you know, but I was thinking a lot about this topic, and at some point I even did my research. I was planning to do a video, but I don't know when I will come up with this video, so I will just answer here. Basically, from what I learned, actually, first of all, I will link a very cool video explaining this wax, how this wax can be different. For example, some organic producers using the beeswax, which is not unhealthy for you. You know, the beeswax you can eat, so it depends what wax is used. Also, it depends if they're using any chemicals or not. But as far as so watch this video, it's really informational. But what I understood that the wax can be easily washed off. For example, I will also link a video with some life hacks about that, actually 2 videos. Basically, if you put your apples in the jar, you just pour hot water on it, like just quickly, you don't need to soak it in this hot water, and then you take a towel and just like scrub it, like, you know, wash it off. The wax will come off, because the way how the wax works, it easily gets like soft and almost like fluid, you know it, you know, if you ever burned a candle. So it's actually easy to make the wax like soft, just submerging something in a hot boiling water, and then the wax doesn't need much time to become soft, and then you just wipe it away, wipe it off. Yeah, that's one of the life hacks. Another life hack was if you use some water and put some few like teaspoons of soda, like baking soda, and you just put all your veggies in there for 15 minutes. Supposedly, it will dissolve all the chemicals. It's not going to help with the wax, because for the wax you need hot water, but it will help with the chemicals that are used to coat the vegetables. I guess that's the life hacks I could find out for you, Vadim. I don't know, maybe somebody else is interested. If somebody knows anything about that, please leave me a comment. But me personally, I have to say, like, I'm super lazy. I don't know, it's really annoying that you have to wash with so much, you know, precautions. You need to wash your vegetables. It's really annoying. So usually I usually wash my vegetables with hot water, and if it comes to apples or, you know, things that I'm gonna eat with the skin, I just wipe them. And by the way, if you're the person who does things like putting your lemon in a tea, you know, like cutting lemon with the skin, putting in the tea, technically you have to wash your lemons too, because they also get coated. The world is crazy that we live in. I don't know. Okay, let's see if I have any other comments to answer. Oh, another important comment. It's very short and on point. Stella, please do a whole video about vermicomposting. And this comment was left by my Russian subscribers, I guess, Taisia Anisimova. So the vermicomposting video, I will make it. I'm actually already making it now. Basically what happened, I think in April, I bought myself a new vermicomposter that goes inside the house, because my old one, I bought it secondhand 2 years or 2 years and a half ago, and I didn't quite like it, and also it was outside and outdoors. I couldn't bring it indoors because it's really dirty. The way how it's made, it's really dirty. So I wanted one that I can place in my kitchen indoor that would look nice and neat, and also will be made the way that nothing escapes from it. So I already started making video how I was setting up. Also, I'm doing recording of every time I, you know, replace the layers, do something to this vermicomposter. So I'm gonna make this video that's I'm not only gonna explain the vermicomposter, but also show the process, you know, with time. So I started doing this video in April. So I'm collecting my data, and maybe in August I will make this video. So stay tuned if you're interested about vermicomposting. Okay, I guess that's mostly it. I have other comments, but I guess I'm not gonna read all the comments because there are too many. And this video is already probably half an hour or maybe 40 minutes long. Anyway, thank you to everyone who's gonna watch this video, and thanks to you and some other people. We have 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and I hope we'll have more. And I'm thinking that maybe next time when I have, I don't know, 2,000 subscribers, maybe I will make a stream, like a live. I was actually planning to do live this time, but then I was like, Stella, you have from 100 to 200 views on your videos, and if 1% of these people will come to your stream, it's going to be only one person, maybe two. I don't know. It will be weird, yeah, to have a stream with 1 or 2 people. But I kind of like this process I did today when I just picked some really cool comments from you and I just responded to them, because I think sometimes if one person asks something, even if I reply directly, I'm sure there are other people having the same questions or the same ideas in their heads. So I think it's kind of cool for me to replying it like that. Some of these comments I obviously can use as ideas for my new videos, but we'll see. Maybe I will just take comments and make this. I was actually thinking about that, so I can produce, let's say, like videos twice a week. Maybe once a week I make this like take a certain topic and make these long form videos like I usually do with some research, like all the detailed information and facts. And maybe another video the same week, I can just have a short clip where I'm answering comments, when I'm answering questions from your comments. This is actually a cool idea too. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it's gonna go. If you have any ideas, what should I do? If you have any suggestions for this channel, anything you want to say it. And see you in my next video. Bye bye.